Hello, Henrik Pålsson.
Hello, pleasure. Great to see you.
It's all my pleasure. You're calling from Philippines. I'm calling here from beautiful Skåne, your
Yes,
birthplace, right?
yes, and I've heard that the spring is coming now after a tough winter.
The spring is definitely here, and
That's
so happy to have you here, Henrik. And this is a series of playing the second half, conversations, right? And we would like to learn everything from you, your driver since the start, and the amazing things that you are doing now. And I would like to start just with a small introduction of how I'm so excited about this talk, because the first thing is, when I was young, very young teenager, I read this book, Moon and Sixpence, from Somerset Maugham. And
I actually have read that one as well. Long time. It was part of my English curriculum.
exactly.
I don't remember much from that book, but I remember the title. That I do, and the author,
And
Somerset.
what I remember, this really got stuck in my mind, because there was this narrator, and he was following the steps Somerset Gauguin was in Tahiti, and he was narrating about trying to meet him, and so. And I understand that Gauguin itself, it's a little bit, how to say, inspired by his life, was really not a nice person, but he met on the way a guy called Captain Bruno.
Okay.
And that scene got in my mind that this person had bought an island, a barren island, and that he made he planted trees, and he made to this paradise, and he brought a piano from France, and he teaches.
I haven't brought any piano to my island yet.
And there is a passage I want to read it for you, because this is the narrator. I have often thought since that he was the only happy man that I ever known.
Oh.
He made his life a work of art. He was an artist in life. And I think this is beautiful, because it's the contrast of this artist and one person that made life an art, right?
Okay.
And then another thing that I think directly when I think of you is the first time I heard it was from you, the idea of being young at heart.
Okay, yes.
So with that introduction, that is, we're going to learn so much more about you. But young at heart and being an artist of life and transforming an island, as you are doing now, I would like to save that for later on, because this is your second half. But if you can start with your first half, when you were here in Skåne as a young kid, and what were the drivers in the very beginning?
Yes, so I'm grown up in Skåne, in northwest Skåne. I'm actually born outside Hässleholm, and then I lived in some small places. Basically, the whole place was just dominated by one single factory or plant, and I had a fabulous life, close to nature, and me and my friends, we played around and had really enjoyed the nature, to the forest, the cliffs, and so on, and the creeks that was floating out down the hill towards our houses, where we made dams, and sometimes the dams were so successful so our parents had some problems with water-filled basements. But we had great fun, and we didn't mean anything bad, but sometimes there were some accidents. I'm very early in my life. My father is also an engineer. He's a construction engineer. So he he introduced construction in my life very, very early. And as a young kid, we got the opportunity to help him in different construction. He built factories between 8 and 5, and then he built houses, private houses, 5 to 9. So he basically worked all the time, except Sunday, because when we were in church. But otherwise it was work. And also we learned a lot, but also I got my first small salaries by helping him carrying bricks and so on. And gradually he introduced me to the more advanced work. So construction and architecture has been part of my life basically before I went to school. So that's been the foundation. I've actually, very few people know it, but I've drawn a number of houses. A number of houses in Lund is actually by my drawings.
Nice. And you said something about church at night, or you didn't?
Yes. So I'm grown up in a relatively conservative Christian family. My father was very conservative, a good heart, but very, very conservative, traditional, so to say. So church has been part of my bring up. I spent many hours, both on Sundays and then during teenage period, also on Saturday evenings with friends that we went to church and together, so to say, and had listened to music and socialized, so to say. So church is part of my my legacy. Yes.
Okay. Did you bring up to today, or?
Yeah, I have a Christian faith, yes.
Yeah.
But some pastors has wanted me to join their churches, and I said, it's better for you that I stay outside your church because I'm a little too dangerous. I'm too much of a free thinker today, and I interpret the Bible my personal way. I'm very much of a Lutheran, so Luther learned me that I should read and interpret God's words my way and not the priest's way, so to say. So, but I have a personal faith, definitely.
And from your father, then the whole idea of construction, architecture, and so. And your mother, what she?
My mother is a teacher.
Yeah.
And she like in most cases, she was a female that kept the family going, and had 2 jobs. She was a professional from day one, which was quite uncommon when I grew up, because in many households it was one person that was working, typically the man. But my mother had a full-time professional career from as long as I remember as a teacher, and we had in those days we didn't have the type of Swedish childcare of today, so we have had a young girl in full-time in our house, taking care of everything, taking care of me and my 2 brothers, and cooking and so on. So that was excellent, fantastic, and of course it offloaded my mother a lot. So I think I have. The girls was typically upper teenage period, so 17 to 19, maybe 20. But and I think we had 3 or 4 of those girls taking care of us during my childhood.
That's both. It's a little bit uncommon for Sweden, right? I mean, it's
today it's totally uncommon, and it's impossible today because of the
Yeah.
tax system and so on. But in those days, it's among in the families where both parents were full-time workers, and in my case, both my parents were professionals. So in that it was not uncommon. So it's a little similar to au pair today, but it was Swedish girls. It was the girls from the same village that worked for us and took care of us and helped us and advised us.
Nice.
So that is my background, and So it was a lot. Of course, school was there, and I have. I'm a relatively easy learner. I'm particularly, of course, on the science side. So maybe I didn't excel during the first 6 grades. I did well, but I didn't excel. But when we came up to the 7th, 8th grades and so on, then the subjects which I had a natural feeling for, things changed. But also, I actually was my Swedish teacher loved me because of my novel writing. He said, Henrik, you are a fantastic author, but you spell terrible. So that was inspiring as well. But particularly the STEM subject is my subject. I did a lot of sports as well, but not seriously. I did it for fun. So we played hockey both in the summer and the nights in the winter on the ice, and in summers on the street. And these were the years when land hockey was the new way of playing hockey indoors was born. But in those days there were no sticks, so we had to do our own sticks. But it was great fun. We had very lovely fun with it. And then when I came up in 7, so I didn't do sports seriously. I've never done. I basically never played football in a series or something like that, soccer, which is big in Sweden as well. But for fun, I like to play with ball. But then when I came up in the 7th grade, long distance running was suddenly on the curriculum. And that was nothing that I had aspired for, but I noticed that I did that running much easier than my friends. Initially, I had huge respect for it. So I started very slow, and then I felt that I'm not even tired. So then I increased the speed, and at the end, I was always second in goal. Maybe I was on the lower part for the first half, and then I ran by all my friends in school, except one, which was a professional in orienteering. What's that in English? So he was running in the forest professionally. So he was a very serious sportsman. So he was running faster than me, but the football players and all the intensive guys that were playing all types of sports and were supposed to be very athletic, I had no problem at all to put them behind me. So suddenly that theoretical guy Henrik that only was sitting and reading and doing things got some respect among my classmates, because they suddenly realized that I was not just a theoretical guy. I could do things practically too.
That's nice. So this young Henrik was like close to nature, doing good in school. I mean,
I did well in school. I had some problems with spelling.
Spelling,
I love German because it's easy to spell German because there is the structure. But I'm not so fond of Swedish and English because there is no structure in the spelling. You have to learn how you spell the words. You cannot think. So German fits me better than Swedish.
And this young Henrik, did you start to have like a dream, something that you thought, I want to do this, or I'm asking
no,
that.
I'm a very down to earth here person. Of course, I like to speculate. I like difficult subjects, and I listen very much to news programs and so on. When Kennedy was shot, I was only 5 years old, but I actually followed that. I couldn't follow his things on the TV, because that was too early with my life and also in the TV life. But when his brother Robert was killed, 68, I basically was awake 24 hours to follow what happened in US. So that was maybe my first, let's say, global outlook. But that I remember very, very much. So no specific I enjoyed life and took life as it came. During high school, the shy Henrik started to disappear, and a little rebellious Henrik were there. Not that he did huge rebellious, but when he was not happy with what, let's say, not motivated or encouraged by things, then he didn't follow the rules. Then he did something else. And me and my head teacher in high school, for some strange reason, we were a STEM class, but they had our Swedish teacher was our head teacher, and her thinking and my thinking was very, very different. So we were not synced at all during those 3 years. So that was interesting, and I learned that there was a little rebellion in Henrik as well. So that's maybe where the small start of my the Henrik I am today started to show itself. Then when in university, university for me, it was, and I was technical university, it was all the subjects was perfect for me. So it was no deal.
You didn't have any problems, let's say, because you're very hands-on, right? So let's say I remember myself. I was how old? I was 7 years old. My parents waking me up to see the man on the moon. You know.
Yes.
And then for a while, gosh, I want to be an astronaut. And then another period, I really want to become a writer. And I wrote a lot and read a lot. And so, but you have been very hands-on.
I'm very much hands-on, and I'm very happy with the life on Earth. Of course, my Earth is a little bigger than Skåne, much bigger than Skåne. But I'm also love Skåne, even if I'm far away from Skåne today. But no, yes, I was fascinated by the astronauts and the space as well. But I'm more fascinated by the things that I can touch here and now.
Yes.
So I'm very hands-on, yes.
Yeah, because then comes my question, because I had so much difficult to choose what I would gonna do. You know, one thing that I knew.
Me too.
Okay, because the only thing I knew, which is a period that, because you're so young when you have to decide these things in Brazil. I think you're 17, but I didn't like blood. So I immediately took away to be a doctor, which is a pity, because I think it's the beautiful profession, right? But then I've chosen industrial engineering basically by elimination, because it was the most broadly, to be honest, right?
Okay.
But you didn't have an issue of choosing engineering, or was it difficult also to what you're going to do?
Let's see. I'm also quite economical. So economy is also a subject that I like. So I was choosing between if I were going to study technology or economy. And then actually it was a friend of mine that decided to study technology. So then I decided, okay, I study technology. So we started at the university together. In technology, and I took a wide, relatively theoretical path through university. But I like medicine as well. But I've never thought of becoming a doctor. But my thesis in university was in oncology. So I've been working in let's say quite dark areas of people's lives, because cancer is a very tough subject, and it was very motivating to do my small contribution to find better ways to treat people and diagnose people and so on. So actually, I might have done the first digital gamma camera in the world. Yeah, there were gamma cameras before, but they were analog. But and that was today you can't call it. It was so simple, but we broke those barriers for doing a digital solution there, so to say. So that was fun. That was great.
Gosh, then we are coming close to the Henrik I know, right? The guy that's innovative with doing new stuff, an entrepreneur. Before we leave the young Henrik, so anything because you seem to have had such a good life, everything, your parents.
I've been fortunate in life, yes. There have been hurdles in life as well, of course, but overall my life has been very...
and nothing that you regret doing, or something you feel that, no?
I would say as I have had a great life, not without hurdles, but every hurdle has basically become a lesson where I have learned things, valuable things that is valuable today. Maybe it was not so fun to go through that period as such, but life puts you in situations. Life is not always a straight line, and it can be very tough. Life can be extremely tough, but there's nothing I regret as such. But then, of course, my decisions and how I've handled different type of situations in life has also taken me on a different path than if I had acted differently, so to say. So of course it has influenced my life, but I don't regret them, because I think that they've given me something fantastic. Both the great things and the bad things in life has taken me on a path that I'm thankful to.
And Henrik, is there any specific hurdle that comes up in your mind that maybe you will want to share? If not, it's okay.
The biggest hurdle is that I lost my son. That was tough. So we had 2 daughters, and then our third child had an inherent genetic disease, which meant that he didn't live so long. He became 2 years old, and first half year he was pretty normal, but still not fully normal. But there was no one who thought that he was extremely different. But after when he turned around half a year and still was a baby with no control of hands and so on, both we, and particularly my wife, we said that this is strange, and the doctors were not either particularly. They thought that something is, but no one knew what it really was. But then a few months later, we got him diagnosed, and we got the message that your son is not going to survive. He is going to die from his. He had a disease which is called Krabbe's disease, where the nerve system is breaking down. Simple. So that was tough. That was very, very tough.
Well, yes. How old are you then?
This happened in 1990, so I was 32 years.
Okay. So young.
Yep. Yes. No, but it was, we got our first child 84, so... and of course, it was tough for the whole family, for my daughters, because they were also, like their parents, very happy to get their little brother. And then suddenly they start life. And challenges in life hit them very, very early, and so of course it has affected all of us, and it's likely also been the reason. I'm on my second marriage today because eventually we divorced, me and my wife, after many, many, many years. But that situation, I think, took us apart because we reacted very, very differently on that crisis. But that's life, and you have to handle life. And of course, it's nothing that you want to happen, but when it happens, you have to manage it. And then you also learn that humans take those type of things very, very differently. I took it one way, and my wife took it in a different way. But I'm happy that she has a happy life too today. We were together for what was it? Nearly 20 years after we lost our son. But it did affect all our marriage, no doubt about it. So that is by far the biggest, let's say, hurdle in life. And then there's other hurdles, of course. I've been having an automatic gun directed to me and so on. And then I learned something about my personality as well. So there are things happening in life. Life is not a straight line.
No, there is no security, right, in life?
No. And you have to, because if you want to have that extremely secure life, it also becomes a boring life.
Exactly.
Actually, early in my career at Ericsson, we had a workshop in Stockholm. Number of people from different type of industries and different type of institutions in society, and the subject was what the title was, but it was we were trying to sketch up the city, or the safe city was the subject. So the whole purpose of the workshop was to see what was needed to do to create a safe city, and how could you make a great safe city. And actually, our group, we concluded that none of us wanted a safe city, because a really safe city is also a boring city. So if you really want a very safe life, maybe you should stay in rural and not move to the city, because city life in itself has a little of a challenge and a little of danger built in, and that danger is actually what makes a city great. But too much danger is, of course, not making a great city. So it's a balance. It's a difficult balance. But too safe cities is boring cities. And I totally agree with that after my life, because I lived in a number of very large cities. I lived in New Delhi. I lived in Manila. I've spent a lot of time in large cities in US as well, and so on. And Melbourne in Australia, I lived, and none of them are safe cities, but they are great cities. They are very great cities. I love them, all of them, even if I'm a country boy. So there is some type of opposite in Henrik, so to say. But nowadays I live in a very, very remote, very, very small place, but not as small as the place where I'm grown up, because the place I grew up, it had 250 inhabitants only.
And now I want to hear all about how you come to this island in the Philippines, that you like Captain Bruno. You didn't take the piano, but
no.
But tell us. I mean, because I think this is how I always see you. This person, young at heart, that is doing fantastic things, and shine in terms of energy that you bring, and so. Tell me also how. Because we are a little bit the same age. I'm 64, but you are younger, right?
I'm older. I'm soon 68.
You're joking, but I would like to hear also from you. the thing that I am mostly concerned now is time, right? Because I talk to myself. I have been, Henrik, this workaholic, working, work, not really in the present moment for several reasons, right? And now I see, honestly, some periods in life that is almost like a blank. I don't remember, and it's not because I'm,
okay.
Which means I am putting a lot of effort in terms how organize time and so all the tips. And I think my wife says the day has just 24 hours, and that's even for Beyonce.
That's true. I have a privilege today to manage time in a very attractive way. But so let's come back to time, but maybe I should tell how I ended up where I am, how my second life started. So basically, at the end of my university studies, I was offered a scholarship to go at the premium technical university in Zurich, ETH. But I turned it down. And this was a difficult decision, but I turned it down because I just got into a relation with a lovely girl that then also became my first wife. And I didn't want to be so far away from her as Zurich was to Skåne. So, but I, to some extent, said to myself that this is just temporarily because I wanted to come out in the world, so to say. Skåne was too small for me. And then I was lucky to get a second chance because I was accepted to go the very prominent ASEA Elevingenjörskurs, which is maybe the best and most prestigious. I don't know about today, but in those days it was the most prestigious management trainee program in Sweden, no doubt about it. So I had the privilege to be to join that. Maybe they thought that I was going to become a good manager, but management didn't become my career, so they made some type of misjudgment of me. But it was for me it was lovely, and also I was very lucky because basically Percy Bonnevik has just become the CEO, and as a trainee we got the opportunity to come really close to ASEA's top management, including Percy. So I got very, very inspired by Percy. And his strategic, those who reported to him maybe was not so inspired by him because he was an extremely demanding manager, demanding manager. But he also had a very strategic mindset. He saw things in a much bigger way and much more further than just the next quarter or next year. And he talked a lot about Eastern Europe and how we could develop Eastern Europe. And all those things that he told us at that time, they became true as well, thanks to certain. So he had a perspective, and then later on, but we can come back to that. But I got an opportunity, a second session, to see what Percy created with Hand in Hand in India, because I was in Tamil Nadu, where Hand in Hand has had its major activities with taking rural females, making them micro-entrepreneurs and helping them work together in chains and becoming very, very successful. So Percy has inspired me a lot in my life, definitely. I never had him as my direct manager, but I had the pleasure to see close his way of working and so on. So he inspired me a lot. And then as I wanted to come out in the world, I convinced my managers at ASEA that I should, because part of a trainee program is half a year abroad. And the thing that was furthest away on Earth that I could come to was Australia. So I did my abroad half year of a training in Melbourne, and got the flavor of course. There's a lot of Western culture but there is also a lot of Asian culture in Australia. So that was my first flavor of the world, so to say. So that inspired me, and that has then led to where I am. I worked. What happened at the sea at the same time was that 3 Mile Island, the nuclear power station accident, had just happened, and even if it was not a ASEA atom plant, it was a Westinghouse plant. The whole industry got shocked by what happened, and I became part of the investigation to find out what went wrong and what can we do about it so it doesn't happen again. And psychology was not my favorite subject in school, but suddenly I realized that psychology is quite important. So I had to reevaluate that subject, because large reasons for the accident in 3 Mile Island was that the technology didn't give the control room staff a chance to react in time and correctly, because they were overwhelmed with messages and alarms and so on. So they had no chance to find out which was the important alarm, where was the root cause of a problem, and where should they act. Impossible. So that led me into man-machine communication, human interfaces, and so that has been then the red thread in my career: humans and innovation. And that is what's taking me to the island through a number of years in Ericsson, fantastic years, but actually, I was involved in the first smartphone project. It was not called smartphone, in ASEA, ABB, not in Ericsson. When I came to Ericsson, I got a shock how behind Ericsson was from an IT perspective. Ericsson was so focused on voice, so internet and so on. Even if Ericsson made computers, because of Ericsson information, I felt that I took 1, 2, 3 years back in time when I went from ABB to Ericsson. Because in ABB we had Macintoshes, we used HyperCard, we used TCP/IP, and all those things that we take for granted today. But Ericsson didn't even have anything but DOS in the computers.
Yes.
So the first decision I took just 1 week into my career at Ericsson was to convince my manager that we should actually get Microsoft Windows into the computers and not working with DOS. So that was my first achievement at Ericsson. But then I had marvelous days, fantastic managers, and we have a joint experience of Torbjörn, which was a fabulous time to work under Torbjörn, but also of a lot of great people, colleagues, and so on. And then I got this fantastic opportunity to found Consumer Lab. Because Ericsson realized that the telecom industry was changing fundamentally when the government-owned telcos were replaced by mobile operators, and suddenly the humans was not a ratepayer any longer. It was actually a customer, a consumer. So then Consumer Lab became important, and it was fabulous times, and we were given quite free space, and
that's where the young at heart at some point come up.
The young at heart definitely flourished during those years. I had it in my heart, but it flourished. I really started to understand, and that's me. People is asking, when are you going to retire? And I say, I will never retire. The day I stop working is the day when I'm in a coffin, because I'm so motivated And that is also something that has been a red thread throughout my career. I've always been very interested in technology, but not technology for the sake of technology, but for the sake of what you can do with the technology, what you can achieve, how technology can change things and improve things and so on. That has been my driver, and motivation. And I'm rarely, let's say, excited by technology just because it's technology. It needs to do something. It needs to deliver, add value, create value. That is critical for me.
And Henrik, it's so interesting to hear that. I mean, even if we can have so many interests and so, but there is some particular thing that makes a mark, right? And for you, as I understand, it was this with human-machine interaction. It was about innovating these areas and so, right?
Correct.
And that experience from 3 Mile Islands catastrophe.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. When you find this really thing that sticks with you, like and becomes very sharp. I can say from my own experience, I mean, I loved every time I worked. I always thought the work I have is the best in the world. I always tried to think this way and went all in, right? But for me, myself, was very much this with communities. As you understand,
Yes.
That's when I found like, wow, this is what I want to do for the rest of it. So that's a very interesting aspect. Thanks for sharing this.
And the learning that we might, as a society in West, gone a little too far on the individualistic route. Because we are basically, I'm a very much myself very individualistic. It's very hard to convince Henrik to do something that he doesn't believe in himself just because his friends wants to do it. But we communities are stronger than the members of a community.
Yes.
So by being a member, you'll become stronger. So community is very, very important. And when we look at what the cell phone has made, is made us to some extent more lonely than we need to be.
Exactly.
And also more disconnected. So Nokia was actually right or wrong. They were not they thought they were connecting people, but they're actually disconnecting families and communities. So that is something that we need to think about carefully when we go further. And of course, something that is important for me is that everything during the last 20, 25, 30 years has been on the cities and the densely populated areas rule. And rural and low density areas has basically been given what's leftovers. No one has really taken rural for serious. And that is something I have learned myself through my life, how important and how valuable rural is. And then maybe I've taken it to extreme because and this is also coincidence. It's everything is not just conscious choices, but when so we lived in Manila, me and my second wife Jocelyn, fantastic woman, and I didn't say it before, but complementing my forest experience, my mother is from the West Coast, so we also had a summer house, a weekend house by the sea. So the sea has also been part of my life since young age and so on. So when my wife asked me where, or we discussed jointly, where should we live? And we were in Manila, but we hadn't excluded the fact to maybe settle in Sweden. But both of us were more prone to settle in Philippines. But then I said that my dream, my wish is to live close to the sea. And apparently my wife had listened very carefully, because half a year later or something like that, maybe 1 year later, she took me on a tour. We were visiting her mother, and then she had arranged. We didn't have a car there, but she arranged some. So we were first taken by car and then by boat out in the sea, and then suddenly we came to a coastline. I didn't know that it was an island at that time, but because it's relatively long and wide, so I didn't know what was behind. But it is an island. And then there was a bamboo cottage on the beach. And then my wife said, "That's ours."
Nice.
Yes. So then suddenly we were islanders, and because this was we still had our house in Manila and so on. So this was a weekend house, and it was very primitive because we didn't have water, we didn't have electricity, we couldn't use our phones because there was no coverage and so on. So it was extremely primitive. But for a weekend it was okay, and gradually we fixed so that we had a little water, and we brought water, of course, with us as well. We bought some solar panels, so we had some little electricity. We found a high palm where we could put an antenna up and take it down by cable, so that we had some connectivity as well. And this was 9 years ago. And then next, so we had it as a weekend house, and we extended it and improved it, and built more bamboo cottages on the beach. But we also said that maybe we should do some more serious things. So we had leased the land, but then we actually bought the land and more land. So today we have a relatively big piece of land, including the beach. And then we started to think about how to build a proper house and so on. But we did not have any hurry or rush or anything like that. But then the pandemic came.
Okay.
And we realized that Manila was going to close down. Manila was one of the first places after China that was hit, because Manila is a huge casino city.
Okay.
And a lot of mainland Chinese travel to Manila to play casino, because you can't play casino in China. So there were, of course, a huge flow of Chinese coming to Manila, and some of them brought a pandemic, COVID, to Manila. And the problems became so big, so the mayors, because it's many cities, so it was decided that Manila and Makati and all these places were going to close down. And luckily we found out that in advance. So we actually managed to get a flight out of Manila and flew out before the city was closed down. And the only place we had to, as an alternative, was our bamboo cottage on the island. So suddenly we were permanent residents in a bamboo cottage on the island. So then of course we got a little bit more hurry. Okay, what should we do now? Now we are here. Let's do something about it. So we started to do the drawings of the house and started to do the
And
construction.
how many people live in the island back then?
So the island has around 8,000 inhabitants in 5 villages. So we live in one of those villages. So the village has 1,100 people, maybe. All of them basically fishermen, because fishing is the prime business area. So we have a lot of fantastic seafood, fish,
Nice.
prawns, tiger prawns, crab, langoster, and much more. And of course, a lot of very nice vegetables, fresh fruits, and so on. We have our own bananas. So it's a magic life. But we needed to organize it a little. So and in parallel to the private thing, that also me and a few colleagues, partners of mine, had started to seriously look on how we could empower rural. And then my partners said, "Henrik, can't we do a proof of concept on your island?" And I was very much pro to do a proof of concept, but I was not so pro to interfere in my private life. I thought it would be too complicated. But they convinced me, and I'm happy that they convinced me, because it's actually not so complicated as I thought. It's actually quite rewarding. So now we come to, how do I manage time nowadays? To make this long story short. Of course, there is a lot to be done, both privately and professionally. There is both practical things and theoretical things. We're running a company, so there is marketing, there is economy, and there is strategy, and there is partner relation building, and so on from professional perspective. At the same time, I'm then only engineer on the island, so when advanced technology goes wrong, and it happens, it typically become my job to fix it, regardless if it's my things or someone else's things. So I'm also the hands-on engineer. But what I've learned here is that there's always things to do, but I never, except in emergencies, do the things that I don't want to do that day. So sometimes reality forces me to do something because it's an emergency, but otherwise I might have 10 different things that needs to be done within the next month. But today, I'm going to do that because that is what I feel for. That is what I really drives me today.
Yes.
So I basically have no calendar that says, Henrik, now you're going to do that today, and you have to finish it today. And by that, everything I do is fun. Some things are more challenging, and the challenge can be, of course, a little frustrating. But also, what I've learned now is that we have today in the world an amazing manual which is called YouTube. Nearly any problem you need to address, there's someone else somewhere in the world that has made a nice video telling you and giving you some advice. Even if your equipment is not exactly the same, it's very similar. So YouTube is an amazing tool for do-it-yourselfers, which I basically forced to be. So that is also, but for management time and keeping the energy and as I said, I want to be able to work as long as my body allows me to work, in order to not fall for the stress and frustration of doing things that I don't want to. And of course, I'm in a great position because I don't have any manager except my wife, of course. But I'm relatively free to decide myself, and that, of course, is a huge privilege. And so that is how I manage my time, and that keeps my energy up and my motivation up. So everything basically I do is in one way fun. It's not forced upon me, even if it's maybe something that I hadn't selected to do if it wasn't necessary, but it's not forced upon me the way that often things are when you work in a large corporation and so on. And some high-level manager decides something and tells his manager, this needs to be done, and suddenly it's Henrik's task to do it, and it's urgent. This doesn't happen any longer. There's a meaning with everything. I understand why I'm doing one thing or another. I have full control of those perspectives. I decide myself a lot of things, but of course I have customers. So the customer is king. But I my ambition and strain towards the customers is my decision. It's not someone else's to tell me you have to do that, you have to do that, you have to do it this way, and so on. It's my decision, and that generates energy.
So freedom connected to meaning, right? Because I mean, what you're doing,
freedom and meaning.
Yeah, and then it becomes just so extremely fun. Freedom and meaning.
Yes.
I mean, coming to that cottage that you mentioned without electricity, it was just like for fun at the very beginning, right? And then with COVID to become where you live, and then you want to have connectivity, energy, and then you have your partners. Why don't you use that as a proof of concept? And so it is like a perfect storm of right.
Yes, it's a perfect storm, but
And,
an enjoyable
yeah,
storm. But it's a perfect
exactly.
storm.
Yeah, I understand. Yes, I understand. So when we wake up in the morning, you just, oh, today I'm gonna do this.
So I wake up in the morning. I orientate myself. The first thing I do, I don't even leave the bed. I take my smartphone, and it's kind of interesting because on this remote island today we have better connectivity than any Philippine city has.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So first thing up the phone, just to grasp as for anything that is critical for me to know. And after that, I take my coffee and take some sandwiches and dig deeper into the flow of information that comes through the phone. And after the breakfast, then I start to say, okay, what do I feel? What do I want to do today?
Mhm.
And yeah, then I typically also mix. Most days I do more than one thing. So I have a mix of physical things and theoretical things. So basically, in one way, I have a 7-day work week. Because and maybe that sounds boring, that every day is the same, but it's not boring because every day is not the same.
Not the
But anyhow, it's not the typical, let's say, Western life of 5-day week and then weekend.
I,
Most days are the same.
I would like to wrap up this amazing conversation, Eric. Thanks so much. But it's one question, but actually it's two, right? One is more, let's say, I'm reading a lot of what people regret when they are in the deathbed, right? And so, and that scares me. Is there anything that you really want to avoid, that you are afraid of, or so in this second half that you have and living this amazing time? And then if there is anybody younger, how to say, listening to this now, and the learning that you have, and how well you are living today, anything that you wish you had taken to the first half, so to say, or not?
No, that wouldn't
No?
be, because it's a learning
Yes.
journey.
Yes.
And it's as you indicated in your own choice of what should I study, it's very, very difficult to actually have a clue where your life ends up.
Yes.
And of course, in every situation throughout your life, when you're young and old, your decisions and circumstances influence life, where you're going. And you can, of course, regret things and get stuck with that. But from my perspective, it's much, much better to accept what has happened.
Yes.
And of course, if you have hurt anybody else by doing some mistakes and so on, then you of course need to go to that person that you have hurt in one way and ask for forgiveness. But that is, things happen. You didn't do it with intention, and
Yes.
people misunderstand each other and so on. So it's much better to just sort out that misunderstanding. But basically, learn from life. When things doesn't go the way that you had intended for some reason, change your journey, take that as a learning and an experience, an extremely valuable experience, and then continue your journey from there. Of course, I'm aware that I'm extremely fortunate where I am. But that anyone can have the same opportunity in life, so to say. Take the opportunities when they come. Don't regret when things doesn't go as you intended. Continue, fight further, and take responsibility, because it's not just about you that you have rights. You have a huge responsibility to make the best out of your own life, and also to make your life actually support and help others as well. So we should help each other. We are not strong as individuals. We are much, much stronger as a community. So take very, very good care of your friends and people that care about your parents, grandparents, and so on. They are extremely valuable. Choose the right leaders to follow.
Yes.
Get inspired by the right leaders. And if you feel that you're on the wrong track and the leaders don't have the same values or direction,
and everything.
don't regret it. Switch. Choose a new leader. I've changed manager twice in my career because of that I didn't appreciate at all their way of thinking.
And Henrik, everything has its time. I mean, when I was asking this question, I was thinking, sometimes if I have to go into an office, let's say I need to go to a bank, okay?
Yep.
And I see sometimes very young people in front of the computer, PowerPoints, the life of Ericsson, like my life and so on.
Yes.
And I feel tremendous, I feel almost a little bit anxiety, because it feels so constrained. But we all have different phases in life, right? I mean, you don't regret the PowerPoints or the life in an office and all the things you've done, because it all helped you to the freedom you have today.
Yes.
And everything. Yes. It was a series of events, COVID, this and that made also help where we are today, and living the life you are living today, and making this island to this beautiful place and being an artist of life. Right? Henrik. Yes,
I do. I try to do what I think is well, and I want technology to actually contribute to better life for many people, and I believe very, very much in commercial business models because that's the only way to scale things. There is a lot of nice people that wants to give gifts and so on to help rural and particularly marginalized rurals and so on. And of course, we should help each other, and particularly when there are catastrophes, it's great that people come together and give money and so on. But if you're really going to empower a society, a community, you need to do it on a commercial basis, preferably on a micro commercial basis rather than a global anonymous way, because we have created a world where the distance between money and reality is too big, and we need to do certain things about that. I've read actually just recently a book by a Swedish guy. You might know him, Stefan Kruk.
Yeah, the name, the guy that climbed the...
Yeah, he's an entrepreneur, he's super entrepreneur. He's created Godel and he's also created Kivra and a few other things. And he's written a very good book that you should read. I recommend it. It's called Lagom Economy.
Lagom Economy. Very good.
Lagom Economy. And it because it addresses this problem that it's too difficult to take responsibility because you don't see the consequences of your small behaviors as a consumer or as an individual. And it's a very inspiring book that I really hope that the politicians that are running our bureaucracies study and take
Very good.
inspiration of, because we can build a completely different society that is becoming sustainable, both from a human perspective and from a nature and resource perspective, in a much smarter way when we do.
I'm gonna put in my list and maybe have him in one of these 4D, the other projects they have.
Yes, do. Yes, do. Yes. No. It's a fantastic book and a very, very good guide into a possible future that is much better future than the today we have today.
Thank you. Henrik, thanks so much for sharing these stories, and
my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. This is great fun.
Yes,
so thank you.
Thank you.
And it's a good kick to reflect on life as well. When you asked me, I said, okay, I have to think about it. but yeah, that's my journey. Thank you very, very much. Thank you to everybody that is listening, and wish you all a great life. And there's a lot of opportunities out there. Just take them.
And be always young at heart.
Young at heart. Definitely.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care.